All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into something massive, responsible AI. Look, we're all interacting with AI every single day, right? So the big question is, how do we make sure it's actually ethical, fair, and secure? This isn't just some nice-to-have idea. Honestly, it's one of the most critical challenges in tech right now. So, let's just start with the big central question here. We're handing over so much trust to these AI systems. But what happens when their decisions are biased, or totally secret, or just wrong? The consequences, as you're about to see, can be absolutely huge. Okay, let's paint a picture. Imagine a company uses an AI to screen resumes, right? But what if it was trained on, say, 10 years of old hiring data where men were hired way more often? Well, the AI could just learn that bias, and it might start automatically tossing out resumes from perfectly qualified women. Not good. Or how about this one? You apply for a loan, and bam, instantly denied by an AI system. So you ask, hey, why? And the answer is crickets. Nothing. It's what we call a black box decision. It leaves you totally stuck, with no way to appeal or even figure out what went wrong. And now let's talk about the really high-stakes stuff. What if an AI suggests a serious medical diagnosis, but the doctor has no idea why the AI came to that conclusion? How can they possibly trust it with a patient's life? And look, these aren't just thought experiments. These are real-world problems that people are dealing with right now. So the big question is, how do we stop these things from happening? Well, that's exactly where something called a responsible AI framework comes into play. It's basically a structured game plan for building AI systems that we can actually trust. And this framework is really built on 5 core principles. You can think of them as the blueprint for making sure the AI we build is helpful, not harmful. So let's break each one down. First up, we've got fairness. And this is pretty straightforward. It's all about making sure AI systems don't discriminate. The tricky part is that bias can sneak in from anywhere. The data we feed it, the way we design the algorithms. So this principle is all about actively fighting back against that. And let's be clear, the stakes here are incredibly high. The risk isn't just a one-off mistake. It's that an unfair AI can actually reinforce and even amplify the social inequalities that already exist. The solution, though, is pretty practical. You have to use diverse data sets and constantly, and I mean constantly, audit your models to hunt for those hidden biases. Okay, our second principle is transparency. And the idea here is simple. An AI's decision-making process can't be some big secret. Users, stakeholders, everyone should be able to get a handle on how the system actually works. And this really gets to the heart of that black box problem we talked about. Why is it so dangerous? Because it just completely erodes trust. I mean, think about it. How are you supposed to trust a financial decision if you have no idea how it was made? The solution is to document everything, how it was built, and make sure the whole thing is auditable. All right, number 3 is explainability. And this one is kind of like a close cousin to transparency. See, it's not just about knowing how the system works in general. It's about getting a clear reason for why it made a very specific decision. The AI literally needs to be able to show its work. And this is so crucial. Going back to that medical example, if a doctor can't understand why an AI flagged a particular scan, they just can't use it confidently. It's too risky. So the solution is to either use models that are naturally easier to understand or to use powerful explanation techniques like one called SHAP that can dig into even the most complicated models and tell you, hey, these were the exact factors that led to this one decision. Next up, number 4, privacy and security. And honestly, this one is just non-negotiable. AI systems often need to process incredibly sensitive personal data, and that information absolutely must be locked down and protected with the strongest security you can get. Yeah, and the risk here is not some far-off what if. Data breaches can cause incredible harm to people, and they can lead to massive violations of big laws like HIPAA in healthcare or GDPR. The solution is really a multi-layered defense. You've got to encrypt the data, use smart techniques like differential privacy to make it anonymous, and have super strict controls on who can access it. And that brings us to our 5th and final principle, which really ties everything else together: accountability. This just means you have to establish clear lines of responsibility. When an AI does something, someone, a person, a team, has to be accountable for it. The buck has to stop somewhere. Just think about a self-driving car. If it crashes, who's responsible? Is it the person who wrote the code? The company that owns the car? The person who was supposed to be supervising? Without clear accountability, it's just total chaos. So the solution is an organizational one. Companies need to assign specific governance roles and be proactive about assessing risks before something goes wrong. Okay, so those are the 5 big principles. But principles are just ideas on paper until you actually put them into practice. So let's talk about how real organizations can turn these ideas into action. So when you're trying to fight bias, here's a really clear 3-step playbook. Step 1, audit your data set. Look for any groups that are missing or aren't represented enough. Step 2, test the AI's outputs. Is it making fair decisions for everyone? And step 3, if you find a problem, you go back and retrain the model with better, more balanced data. It's not a one-and-done thing. It's a constant cycle of making things better. And the good news is, developers aren't on their own here. There are powerful tools out there that can help. Some can automatically spot bias and even explain why a model made a certain prediction. Others are designed to find and protect sensitive data. And monitoring tools can keep an eye on things and alert you if the model starts acting weird. But maybe one of the most important ideas of all is the human in the loop. It's a simple concept. For the most important decisions, you make sure a person has the final say. Okay, so we've covered the what, the principles, and the how, the practical steps. Let's wrap up with what might be the most important question of all, the why. Why does any of this really matter? First and foremost, it all comes down to trust. People will only accept and use AI on a wide scale if they believe the systems are fair, safe, and secure. Without that trust, the whole thing falls apart. Second, it's about reducing very real risks. By following these principles, we can help prevent some catastrophic outcomes. We're talking biased decisions that could ruin someone's life, huge privacy breaches, or just complete chaos when something goes wrong and nobody's in charge. And third, from a business perspective, it's all about compliance. Sticking to these principles helps companies stay on the right side of the law. Think about big data privacy regulations like GDPR. This isn't just good ethics. It's about avoiding massive fines and legal trouble. So, to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. At the end of the day, AI systems are just a reflection of us. They learn from the data we feed them, from the rules we write. They are, quite literally, learning from our society. And so the real question we all have to ask ourselves is this: are we teaching them the right values?